Made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable.
Alright, so we're gonna have the meetup here at the Marriott Renaissance Hotel in Barcelona. We're gonna teach people how to make mucho dinero.
Seeing what it takes, I gotta know that I can show. I'm questioning myself if I believe.
Let's make some noise. Ian Balina, everybody. Let's go. Go.
First of all, guys, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate being here in Barcelona as a first stop. This is a great crowd, great turnout. You guys really showed up. This is just amazing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys for the support. This entire Crypto World Tour is really a way for me to say thank you to you guys, right? Because I was just a guy in DC doing live streams, investing in ICOs, right? As I'm doing all these ICO reviews and live streams, I don't really get to see who I'm actually impacting and who's watching my content. So doing these meetups is one way of doing that. I get to see all you guys, all your faces. We get to share stories in crypto, the ups and the downs, right? When you have moon landings, and also when you get wrecked, right? Face to face, over drinks, over dinner, over going out here in Barcelona, right? So I'm very glad to be here. With that being said, let's get to the show, right? So this is going to be more of a origin story, more of my background, how I got involved in crypto, where I went, why I'm doing all of this. Then the rest of it, this is a new section we've added recently, ICO pitches. Because at every meetup, there's always somebody trying to pitch me an ICO. So now we actually have a section for anybody out here, show of hands, who's working on a blockchain project, an ICO or anything blockchain related, right? So get your pitches ready. You guys will have 30 seconds to come here and give your pitch to the entire audience, right? And if you guys have an amazing project, you could get the Ian Balina effect, right? Because at my meetups is where I discovered nucleus vision. This is where I discovered Eden Chain. And I do have an update on Eden Chain. Anybody here who invested in Eden Chain? Show of hands. It's going to the moon. And I'll tell you why. Actually, let's interrupt the entire spiel and quickly chime in on Eden Chain, right? So I told you guys, right? Or I guess my audience, I wasn't really bullish on it because they had no product. Well, today I had a demo of their product, and it is legit. All right, so whoever did their own research, good job, congratulations. All right, we had somebody put up their hand. Somebody here put up their hand. Yeah, so earlier I passed on it, because actually I met them at my Soul meetup, right? And they pitched me, but back then they had nothing, right? But they actually built something, a test net that's running, and what? An exchange? That's why it pays to do your own research, right? All right, so back to the agenda. So I'll go through the ICO pitches with you guys, right? So anybody here who's really been building something and you want to get more exposure, this is a great place to do it. Then we'll have the standard AMA, where you guys can ask me anything, not financial advice, just my opinion, right? I'll try to share as much as I can. And then we'll have the photo session. So anybody wants to take pictures for Instagram, social media, whatever, I'll spend time here to make sure to get a picture with you, right? Disclaimer, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my subjective opinion, right? None of this is really custom to be individual advice. Definitely consult your own legal and financial advisors before investing in ICOs. ICO investing is risky. You can lose all your money, right? We've had scams like Confito and all that stuff, right? So definitely do your own research. All right, with that being said, quick shout out to Drew Morrissey, my music producer over there. Quick shout out to Dan, my video producer. All right, these guys are part of the team. They make everything run. They're the guys who, they're basically the infrastructure. I'm the DAP in a way. Right, so big thank you to them. All right, any questions on this?
Yeah, my name's Mark.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about crypto changing people's lives, yeah, and how we can spread the word about crypto. But often it changes lives through the money that people make from the crypto. It's not that we hear about products or services or blockchain companies that actually make any difference to us,
Right.
which is fine, because like we're interested in making the money off the tokens. But do you see much value apart from like the shorter term profit making from the speculation? Do you see much longer term value?
Yeah, I mean, I would say short term, it's speculative value. Long term, there will be value, but it's not there yet.
No.
Because right now we're still in the infrastructure phase.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like the real value will come from the dApps being built on top of blockchain.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. No. It's kind of like the internet, right? I feel like the biggest value for the internet has been now, as opposed to obviously the 1990s.
Yeah.
Right? Because back then we're still doing the infrastructure, right? Like, I mean, just even entertainment value, right? Like, who here has Netflix? Right? Before you could watch Netflix, you had to have fast internet. You had to have fiber optic or broadband, all that stuff, right? Imagine doing that on a modem, right? Because I feel like right now blockchain is kind of is like in the 1990s. We were really trying to build the infrastructure.
Yeah.
You have to have the Ciscos, the Dells, right? The Microsoft, all that, build like a decent operating system, for example, that actually works.
Yeah.
Right? Then do all that stuff on top of it, right? So blockchain, I think, will definitely change the world in terms of like helping the unbanked and all those other use cases.
Yeah.
But right now, I think we're still trying to get Ethereum to scale.
Yeah, because
right?
I kind of feel in my situation that you know, the idea that you could fork any of these products and get the projects and get the project to accept Bitcoin instead of any of these native tokens is a reasonable argument against a lot of these platforms and invest in altcoin to make more Bitcoin. Yeah. So that's kind of my default mindset. Do you think that's a safer, do you think that's a reasonable approach? Or do you think that some of these altcoins are actually going to be able to survive short term in terms of the stable value?
Ironically, I feel like 95% of altcoins will die.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right.
Right, so I feel that's why I think tokenmetrics helps you filter out those 95%. Yeah. All right.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So you built most of your following through the live streams, like you said, and got you popular. Now live streams are quite popular. And what do you say about YouTube shutting down now YouTubers doing live streams? Like
YouTube shutting. Oh, if they did that?
Yeah, decentralized TV. He got flagged now, and also Omar. He got banned for doing live stream, doing something in the live stream. So YouTube apparently, I don't know, decentralized TV just did 2 days ago a video about maybe flagging.
Wait, Omar got banned?
And his live streams. And
live streams, okay.
And decentralized TV also. He has now a warning for all his live streams he did. Okay. And it's like, I don't know, 1,500 videos.
Yeah, I mean, that is a space as a person who does video on YouTube, right? I'm very bullish on, but it's not there yet, right? But I have, personally, I've invested in projects like Flixo, which is basically a decentralized video network, kind of like YouTube, kind of like Netflix, right? Actually, I had a chance to meet the team in Buenos Aires, right? So projects like that I'm very bullish on. I was bullish on Props project, right? Do you have any information about YouTube contacted you with any? Oh no, not YouTube. I'm good on YouTube. Nothing so far. I think it would be good to have a decentralized video network, right? In case, right, they can take you down, right? But I haven't had any issues on it, right? Does that answer your question? Okay.
I'm one of the guys that's not so familiar with you, so apologies if this is the wrong question, but I'm really interested in, you said that this spreadsheet you used was data-driven, right? That you have token metrics, but you didn't touch much on that. I wonder if you could just say a few words.
So I have a full video that's about, 40 minutes long on that, right? But in general, right, for those who are brand new, token metrics is basically getting data and analytics and applying it to an ICO. So the way I did that, I said, okay, the whole point for me as an investor is to make money, is to have a positive ROI, right? So I went back historically and looked at the best ICOs of all time and just gathered as much data as possible and try to get patterns in that data, right? And I said, okay, what truly matters based on what had the best ROI? And what mattered was, at least from my system, right, is the product. Right? All the ones that did well, 9 out of 10 had some kind of prototype. whether a test net, a mainnet, some code that did something, right? They had something showing they could actually execute on what they were doing. All the white paper ICOs that were just ideas, for the most part, 90% of the time died, right? So that was the first criteria I had. Then the next thing I looked into, or I saw in terms of the pattern, was the team, right? 60% had an all-star team, right? This is very subjective, right? Because it's very hard to objectively grade a team, right? But for me, I noticed the team had somebody who was credible at something. Either they worked for a very well-known company, like a Google, or Amazon, or Microsoft, or whatever, right? Or they had very specific domain expertise that worked on, they were core developers of Bitcoin. For example, Stratus, right? Using token metrics, although I missed Stratus, going back and studying it, I could have predicted it would have done well, right? Because it had everything token metrics looks for, right? Like, they had a Bitcoin core developer. Even though they're very under the radar, that's not something to laugh at. That's very credible, right? So things like that. Then same thing with advisors. And then the actual token metrics itself, right? So I take both quantitative and qualitative data points, right? And for example, I evaluate how much money an ICO is raising, how many tokens they're minting, what percentage they're making available to investors, what percentage is being kept by the team, token price, all these different things. And then basically just using basic stats, I go through and say, okay, this is all the good ICOs were in this safe zone, right? Then we have 1 deviation from the mean, 2 deviations from the mean, right? So when I score new upcoming ICOs, I look at them and see, okay, how well do they fall into this zone, this safe zone? How far do they deviate from what a good ICO is supposed to look like, right? So for example, nowadays there's so many ICOs coming up, right? There could be 40 ICOs coming out every single day. Who has time to go through 40 white papers? You guys have day jobs, you have family, you have kids, you have things to do, right? But you don't want to miss the wabi. How do you not miss the wabi without reading 40 white papers, right? So for me, I created a system to really filter out ICOs very quickly. First thing I look for, prototype. If you have a prototype, gone. That costs about half the ICOs now, right? In like less than 5 minutes. Next thing I look at is the team. If it's an all-star team, right? So now I've kind of codified this even more, right? So specifically the way I transparently and objectively measure a team is they have to have at least either one of these two, either 2 years of experience from somebody on their team at a publicly traded company, right? A company that's publicly traded. Could be in the US, could be in Spain, could be anywhere in the world, really, right? But I feel like as an entrepreneur, the goal of an entrepreneur is to have an exit, right? So anybody who's been part of that ecosystem and has done that successfully is an all-star, right? So somebody who's sold a company, right, for a good amount of money is an all-star to me, right? Or somebody who's taken a company to have an IPO, or has been a part of that environment and culture, right, that of a publicly traded company, right, like a Google, a Facebook, a Dropbox, right, even recent IPOs, right? That's one factor I look for. If they don't have that, then I look for, do they have domain expertise? So it's basically saying, okay, do they have domain expertise, or have they been part of a successful business, right? This is some of the parts where I get some pushback, because people say, but these guys are aspiring entrepreneurs, right? They're very smart, but they haven't done anything before, right? To me, I mean, they could go on and prove me wrong, but my whole point is to mitigate risk, right? How do I mitigate risk, right? Because 95% of these ICOs will fail, right? So if anything is questionable, I just move on, right? So the next thing I look for is, do they have anybody on the team who's worked for a credible project in this space, right? So I look for top 25 products based on market cap, and now, because the space is still very young, at least 6 months or more experience doing that, right? For example, if somebody was an Ethereum core developer, that's an all-star, whether or not they work for Google or Amazon or whatever, right? If somebody is an EOS developer, core EOS developer, or core icon developer now, right? So to me, that's very credible, right? So I look for minimum 2 all-star members on a team, right? So if they have a prototype and they have at least 2 people on the team, that are very credible. Then I go through and now look at their advisors and token metrics. Right? So it's kind of like a gauntlet. I call this the ICO gauntlet. Right? It's kind of like a funnel. Right? Could have the best token metrics in the world, but if your team's not good and you have no product, I can't even talk to you or even score you. Right? Does that help?
Apart from investing in cryptos, is there any other way that you're able to leverage your community in order to make money? For example, do you have a syndicate where other people, investors like me, could invest with you?
I do, but I have a private community. I have both my Telegram, then I have a Patreon community, right? But it used to be so big that I had to cut it in half just to deal with and manage everything, right? Because it kind of got too big. And now I'm in the process of slowly closing that down, right? I do have it. It's about 20 people or so, right? But unfortunately, it's way oversubscribed, right? Because we're not trying to have too many people in it, otherwise it kind of defeats the purpose, right? I have thought about possibly doing like a crypto fund, right? But after exploring it, it's not something I really want to do. I don't want to personally manage other people's money, right? Or even just doing like a public fund, like TAS and some other like tokens where you like invest in everybody invests or whatever, right? So me personally, it's not something I want to do, right? But I mean, I feel like communities now have grown to a point where pooling is everything, right? Now almost everybody's in a pool, right? Because it's almost the only way to get involved in ICO. Right, but unfortunately, we have to kind of try to stay 2 steps ahead and think, okay, what's next, right? Because when everybody's in a pool, then everything's going to sell out. So what's next, right? And some people are trying to get into better pools or more exclusive pools. But actually, I think what's next is post-ICO, finding good projects on exchanges during a bear market and getting in before a bull run, right? For example, Loom Network. Who got Loom post-ICO? What price point did you guys get it at? 7 cents. I was part of the private sale. It was private sale only. Private sale price was like 8 cents. This guy got it cheaper than I did on exchanges, right? Anybody else around that same price point? Loom now, what? 7? Loom right now is what, 34 cents? Over 30 cents? It's like 4x'd in what, a month or so? So I think now going forward, those are the plays. Like I think me personally, I'm going to try to focus on plays like that, because one of the, I guess, a good problem to have, the more money you make in crypto, it comes to a point where you can't invest all of it into an ICO, right? So, because ICOs now have caps, right? So let's say you have $100 million, you can't put all that into Loom in the ICO, right? They'll give you a cap, even if it doesn't matter how much money you have, right? So what I think this is probably the strategy going forward. The more money you make, right, especially funds, right? Because there are lots of funds, crypto funds, that loved one chain, but obviously they couldn't get into it, right? Or get as much money as they wanted to. You could put in $1 million in one chain, but if you think one chain is going to do 100x, right, and you want to put in 20 million, you can't take up the entire ICO. The ICO only raised 34 million or so, right? So lots of institutional investors and funds, what a strategy they have is to really deploy lots of capital post-ICO. I mean, sure, you're not getting the best return, but you're still getting a good return, right? So for example, if one chain does 100x, right, and you had some in the ICO, and you buy even more post-ICO, you still have a decent return. So I think, me personally, that's a strategy I'm exploring even more, right? Anybody who's working on an ICO, or even just a blockchain project, or even if you're just a hacker, a marketer, a developer, or whatever, and you want to meet people.
Should I go there? Should I
Please come up here and tell us what you're working on. If you even have a website, we can pull it up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm a director and the head of communications for Element Group. We're one of the biggest advisory firms for ICOs on the market at the moment. We've done some of the biggest deals in 2017. Some of them you might have heard about, such as Enigma, Ripio, Wax Token. We advised all of those. We have a big pipeline for 2018 as well. So if you're not on our mailing list yet, please subscribe to our mailing list. And Ian, the reason why doing this right now is because we want to get on your radar. We want to have you part of our deals, and let's please get in touch and discuss deal flow.
All right, thank you, thank you.
I'm co-administering a group of 15,000 plus investors, crypto investors. And several months ago, we decided that we needed to do an Ether pool. And so the idea is that anybody of those investors can invest together with us. And we have a system that we can know who wants to have how much, to invest how much, who we can let in onto the deal, how we appropriate the deals that we get from the ICO on the pre-sale. So basically every investor is able to get a better deal by investing together as a group. And we also do KYC, which is very important because many ICOs nowadays, they will not want to have group buying anymore because they cannot control thousands of people investing. So we do the KYC for those investors. And we're always looking for influencers, because that's our market. We're giving our product that we're using for ourselves to other people as well. So we're looking for influencers, we have investors. And if you want to get involved in the project, if you're an entrepreneur, I'd be happy to talk to you. I'm here in Barcelona, so if you're here, let's talk. My name is Eike. I'd be happy to give you my card
What's
afterwards.
it called again? The project name?
Syndicate Maker.
Syndicate Maker, all right. Yeah. All right, anybody, who's up next? Here, okay, all right. Oh, actually, before we even say this, right, I met this guy at my meetup in Seoul, Korea, right? So I just want to say thank you for traveling from continent to continent to come to
follow
the
him
meetups.
everywhere, yeah. This is quite important, yeah. Hi guys, my name is Marat, I'm from Kazakhstan. So I'm doing a wallet, hardware and a software solution. So we are doing this almost for 8 months. At the moment we have a beta version. So in May 4 it will be a public release for Android version. So it's almost done for a software part. So we claim ourselves like the most unhackable wallet in the world. So it will be completely different from any other current solution, from software and hardware solution. So we found a very unique technology where we can avoid using of private key during your transaction. So this is very different from any other wallet in the world. Yeah. So we at the moment we have 116 currencies in the wallet at the moment, and we'll have 200 plus currencies all in all and more. So we don't have any limitation with the memory of the card. Yeah. So at the moment also we're dealing with the manufacturers in Seoul, in China, for finalizing our production. Our ICO will be done at the end of July. Our cap is $28 million US. So what else to say? And I would like to say that this is a quite big issue at the moment. Security. Even you, Jan, you have this issue, yeah, just recently.
I'm a very good possible client.
Yeah. So almost every day exchanges, wallets are being hacked. So we are quite in the right place in there.
And do you guys know this guy right here in the middle?
Yeah, this is me. Yeah, I was advising Eden Chain.
He's also an advisor to Eden Chain. So anybody who's part of Eden Chain, you should talk to him.
The name of our project is called Spatium or Spatium.
And guys, just to kind of go back to my earlier point, right? Very crucial to pay attention here, because one of these ICOs could be the next big thing. Right? We've had a Nucleus come to a meetup. We've had an Eden Chain come to a meetup. Right? We've had I met Dan, my video producer, at a meetup. Right? Lots of magic happens at these meetups. All right, continue.
Sure, thank you. So I'm Pierre. I'm the founder of CEO and of SETEO, SETTEO. Pedro is here, Pedro Perez, our CTO as well. And our vision is to make the world play together. We are the first global racket sports social network in the world. We started 3 years and a half ago already We have 150,000 users already, hundreds of clubs using our SaaS products as well. We have thousands of matches that are organized on our platform every month. And we also have big endorsements with the US Professional Tennis Association, for example, International Paddle Federation, and other big racket sports in Spain. Maybe you guys don't know it in the US, but a big one in Europe and in Spain. And the NTC, for example, the largest tennis tournament in the world with over 30,000 players. We are now launching a ranking, a universal ranking, so that everybody speaks the same language when it comes to ranking in tennis and each racket sports. It's also a peer-to-peer ranking, so it's based on the blockchain. In other words, we don't need third party to validate the results and compute the rankings like federations, etc. So that's why we want to use the blockchain. And we're also introducing the Setcoin, which is the Bitcoin of racket sport, of the Bitcoin of tennis. It's going to be very helpful for the community, not only to buy things on the platform. By the way, also outside the platform, we already have deals with e-commerce that can accept our currency. But it's also to give incentive to the players and the organizer that are the most active. In other words, the more you play and the more you earn coins. And so, well, Ian, that would be great to invite you as well. Next week, we're going to have a big party in Madrid at the tournament. On Friday, we present to private investors.
I'll be in London for the next stop.
Oh, that's a pity.
Maybe next time. I appreciate
next time. But anyway, any investors, we're doing a private sales presentation during the Madrid tournament next week, which is one of the top tournaments of tennis in the world. So join us. We don't have a rap, but we're going to have great matches there. So don't hesitate. Just get in touch. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I'm Justin. I didn't prepare at all to come on stage. I was working in Barcelona for ad company, and I stopped everything to go on crypto. So I'm just a bit inverting on ICOs, doing a bit of day trading. And one day I received an email from LinkedIn from some guys in Australia who say, hey, we saw that you were investing on crypto and you knew a bit about the platform and stuff. So I'm now advising them, not like the big advisor like you could be for Nicholas Vision, for example, but it can be a good project. It's called Unchained.net. It's a decentralized cloud platform for calculation, computing power, unused, because in the world about 30% of computing resources are not used, even though they consume electricity. And well, I just wanted to give you the name so you can go on the website.
So how do you spell it?
Unchained.net.com.
Unchain?
Unchain.
Earn or?
Earn. U-N chain.
Oh, U-N chain.
Yeah, I don't know if you can pop up the website real quick.
Yeah, sure. Are you having an ICO or post ICO?
No, it's still a really early stage. They just show up the console, so you can try the console of the demo. Unchained.net.com.
I'm not sure why. Anyway, we'll proceed, but
yeah, okay. So
take a look at it later. Unchained.net.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you have a card?
I don't, because I wasn't prepared. I'm not here to tell you, hey, yeah, guys, this is the next 100x ICO. Just go invest. But
that's why we're here.
But well, I invite you. You can find my my LinkedIn on their team, since I'm helping them with all the business process. I'm not at all a tech guy, even though I'm a fan of blockchain. Yeah. But if you can just go to the website, give me your opinion on it, and then we can start discussing, because it's still a early stage, and the pre-sale will start in May.
Prototype?
They have a console that you can try on the website. So yeah. Type is almost ready, but yeah, there is still there is already a demo, and they do private session for the demo.
All right, very nice. For anybody out there, because this is a common question, how do you get advisors, right? So the way other ICOs have got at me, like Nucleus, right? Abi came to my LA meetup. He came to the happy hour, pitched me, right? I'm there drinking. I've been pitched a million times. I don't want to hear his pitch, right? But his pitch was really good, really, really good. Right, and I was there grilling him. It was kind of like a battle. right? I'd be like, do you have a prototype? He's like, yes, we've done this, right? So me mentally, as I'm there talking with him, he was going through all the checkboxes of what I look for, right? And he knew that because he watched my content, right? He told me, I've watched your ICO video, right? That was the first step. He gave me his card, then I didn't talk to him, right? I was busy, life happened, right? He followed up, right? He was very, very persistent, but not in an annoying way, in a very respectful way, right? Then we eventually got on a call, right? He brought in Excel partners, the other advisors, right? Because Excel, the well-known VC firm in America, right, was early investors in the company. Got on a call, talked all the different things, right? Then I played hard to get again, right? Fast forward like 1 or 2 weeks later, once it kind of went from me, do I believe in RB and the company? Okay, once he checked that box, it was more of like, do I really want to advise this and be part of this and go the distance with this, right? And then it just kind of became about finding the right financial package, right? For me, before the first ICO I did was straight tokens, right? Then the next one I did, right, with Nucleus, they gave me a package that was really different for advisors. I got both Ether, tokens, and equity in the company, right? So that was a very compelling offer, but initially I turned them down as well, right? But he was very persistent in a very respectful way, right? Actually, I'm not sure if you want me to talk about you as well. So this is not the first time this guy has pitched me, right? He pitched me in Seoul, Korea, right? Actually, he pitched me, Eden Chain was there as well pitching me, right? Eden Chain, for those of you who don't know, long story, I met him in Korea. Good idea, because it was a brand new blockchain, but they had no prototype at that time, right? So I really couldn't do much with them. But now they do have an amazing prototype, so now it's really good. But he was there as well, told me what they're doing, right? But this guy saw a really big opportunity, right? For anybody who doesn't know, I was hacked recently, right? Lost over $2 million in crypto, right? I definitely learned my lesson. The thing I can share here, confidentially, even though it's probably gonna go out, we've recovered, we're not fully recovered, but we've ID'd we've ID'd suspects, possible suspects, right? And we've successfully frozen some of the funds from the hackers, right? Almost half of it, right? And we're very confident we'll get back some, if not all, the funds, right? It's just we have to work with several exchanges. We gotta go through paperwork and bureaucracies, right, to have them then send the funds back, right? So not everything is gone, right? I'm not broke. I'm not going back to IBM anytime soon, right? But now security is even more important to me. Right? This guy definitely knows that, right? And he flew all the way from Kazakhstan to come to this meetup for a second time, right? So that's persistence in a very respectful way, right? He didn't just email me every single week or every day, hey Ian, here's my ICO. Hey Ian, here's my ICO. He came to the meetup, talked to me his idea. I saw the pitch, I liked it at that time, right? As opposed to emailing me, he came to a meetup in Europe. I mean, now he really stands out. I mean, this guy has seen me on 2 continents now, right? So, I mean, for me, one of the things I always like to do is reward people who really go the extra mile. Like, I mean, just as a way to say thank you, I mean, like, I'm definitely gonna hear everything he has to say. I mean, if he's want to come continent to continent just to hear me talk, I want to be respectful and return the same to him, right? So anyway, that's my spiel. Anybody else? Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sasha. I'm part of a group of investors, and we recently started also a YouTube channel. It's called Team Europe Blockchain Investors, and we are a team from Austria, and we're gonna move in 1 month or in 3 weeks. We're gonna move to Zug, Switzerland. And we want to be the first YouTubers really covering the crypto valley. We have also already some good connections there, and want to find the good ICOs there. So as you know, a lot of ICOs are getting started in the Zug in Switzerland. We're German speaking, we're English speaking, and I think that's a good advantage we're gonna have hopefully in this year to find good ICOs. We just uploaded a video about Eden Chain today, and I hope it's a good one and people can enjoy it. If you wanna connect, just talk to me, And if you want to see the YouTube channel, it's called Team Europe, because we are from Europe, and Team Europe Blockchain Investors.
I feel like everybody's pitching non-ICO stuff, so I'm just gonna go for it. All right, so that crypto hustle, essentially it's an e-commerce shop. That's what it originally started. So essentially I was at an e-com conference and all my friends around me, like big Amazon guys, were foaming at the mouth talking about their Bitcoin investment. This was like in June 2017, about 6 months ago. So of course I went home, did some research, and was like, this is the perfect demographic to sell t-shirts to, because I'm an e-com digital marketer. So essentially, because I had experience doing podcasts, YouTube, and I'm a digital marketer, I was like, well, the next thing to do would be to learn more and create a podcast around this. So essentially created a podcast and started learning more about cryptocurrencies and essentially just like went down the rabbit hole, and I was like, holy shit, this is huge. This is the next big thing. This is Web 3.0. And one thing led to another. I started a meetup here in Barcelona. My first one was in January. We had over 200 people show up at HEREIN. I did another one on Thursday. We had a decent amount of people. We had RJ, who's, well, essentially he taught, oh my God, what's the name of the YouTuber? Superman. Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily a big fan of Superman, but in any case, he taught Superman everything he knows. We had Crypto Alice. We had a really good turnout. So why am I here? Well, because essentially the goal originally was selling t-shirts, but now it's more about giving a platform for individuals or crypto hustlers. So what does that mean? Whether influencers like Ian Balina, whether you're an ICO, and give you a platform where essentially you can market to a huge crowd, because I have a huge community, and give you whatever tools you need in order to put your project in front of other people's. So thatcryptohustle.com. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And speaking of clothing, I'll be launching my own merch soon. I'm going to be launching a merch store, right? So if anybody wants, I'll be doing that too as well. I'm doing everything. But yeah, I mean, people have been asking for this for a while, so I'm finally launching this, right? So if you want Moon Lambo t-shirts or whatever, right, it's going to be open hopefully within a month, right? And as usual, I'm always willing to take in brand new designs. All right, so now we have the AMA.
Hello, Jan. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for coming.
My question is about OneChain, and especially about their proof of stakes. And I was wondering if you had some information maybe about how many tokens we'll need to hold in order to be part of it.
Oh, proof of that question, or that answer, I do not have, unfortunately.
All right.
In terms of proof of stake for the master nodes, I don't know the exact amount.
Okay, because I heard there are like 3 types of master node for them. Like they released this information last week, but they didn't say like the percentage, and I was wondering like if you had some information about it. So.
Unfortunately not. I haven't really been keeping track of OneChain besides the price. But I'll look into it. I mean, all I know is, I think it's 1.2.0 is when that's coming out, the master node stuff, right? So I mean, that's something I want to do, master node. I've never done a master node, but it's a great way to make some passive income, right? So, and I still have my one, thank God, right? So I definitely want to multiply it when that happens, but I've not really looked much into it besides that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, thank you for coming here in Barcelona, my city. So my question is about Celsius. I know that you talk about
Celsius.
Yeah, you
lending?
talk about lending.
Okay,
sure. You talk about like 3 weeks ago with Alex Mashinsky, the CEO. You did AMA with him, and also you did a video tape. I would like to know if you have any news about the project that just has released the tokens recently. I don't know if you are following the project, you're expecting.
No, I mean, I was bullish on the project, but I didn't personally invest, just mainly because it came out during a bear market. And although it was good and everything, timing-wise, I didn't think it was good timing. And I think I heard the tokens just came out recently, right?
It was like 1 week ago.
Okay, do you know what it's trading at, or what the?
We're expecting the listing on exchange, but
okay.
not yet.
Yeah, I mean that one is a good project, but just timing, it was bad timing. I mean, So I don't really know much about it right now at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, thanks a lot. Been great. What do you think will be the best hedging product aside from Tether?
Hedging, I hate Tether.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you why I hate Tether, then I'll get to your question. So when I was doing homework on Tether, I saw that the bank that was backing the dollars there was somewhere in Hong Kong, which is good and all, but as an American investor, if something's going to be backed by the US dollar, I want to make sure somewhere I can actually sue them if something goes wrong. Right, so because it wasn't there, I've been hesitant to use Tether, right, in general. But in terms of outside of Tether, I mean, a project I was bullish on initially was Haven, right? Haven ICO was a stable coin, right? But that was until they kind of botched their ICO and tried to raise more money, right? Ever since then, I pulled out. But that's a project I was bullish on at the time. Recently, I've been hearing a lot through my private network about some projects. I think, is it Meta? Meta something, some stablecoin. I have to get the name is not coming to me right now, but not Meta stable. That's a fun, but Meta something, right? But I think stablecoins. I mean, I've just been hedging with Ether, to be honest. Me personally, right? Ether or maybe Bitcoin.
That's
right?
an interesting thing. I think whenever someone thinks of a hedging product, they think of a stable coin.
Yeah, but
which really what's interesting about the lending ICOs. So you covered lending block, and this is what intrigues me the most about the lending sector, because there's no doubt that there has to be some sort of a coin that helps protect institutional money, because when you're managing tens of millions of dollars and your analysis says, you follow the system, that the market is headed downward, which there will be bear markets in the next 5 years, whether it's a month or a year, they're going to need a product to protect whatever liquidity they have. So my question is, you have SALT, you have ETHLend. ETHLend, I think they lent out 4 million worth of Ether since their ICO. Their max market cap was $400 million, which is hilarious. Then you have SALT, which I wasn't comfortable using to borrow. And the reason why you want to borrow anything is to short, which would essentially keep your risk contained. I'm afraid of Tether for the same reasons. And I don't know how to store Tether in a hardware wallet. To my knowledge, you can. But really, I think the only thing that's going to separate the next big lending product will be the team, which is what's really interesting about Lending Block. They're focusing on institutions, and their lending, I'm sure, if they're covering the institutional market, is going to be a lot more than $4 million since inception, which was last week. So with that said, how big do you think, not Lending Block, any type of lending coin could get? Because it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think, a very defined use case that needs to be solved and will be solved. That's why I personally was part of Lending Block on the ICO. In terms of when, right? Not really sure, or in terms of what will solve it. I think it's just kind of more, it just takes time. I think that's really the honest thing. It takes time. The space is still not as mature. As more institutional investors come in, right, they'll need that even more and kind of keep on tooting that, and more people will come to try to solve the problem, right? Yeah. Me, I'm betting on Lending Block, but that's kind of me more as a investor and speculator, to be honest, right? Not really more from the value per se. I mean, I think it's a great team, right? So that's why I'm betting my horses on them, right? But that's more from a ROI perspective, not really from who's actually going to win and solve this use case, right? But I mean, I don't use lending, so although I was part of Salt Lending's ICO, I've never actually used it. I sold that a long time ago, right? So I'm probably not the best person to really answer that, right? But whatever brings comfort to institutional investors will be a high bar that they'll have to meet.
Yeah, I run a small pool of money, and during February, I was looking for a product to hedge all of my clients' money.
So how'd you hedge?
I used Tether, and I used Bitcoin because Bitcoin actually fell the least among all the coins that you had an option being involved in. But what?
DigixDAO?
That's another
that's a gold
option.
one,
But
right?
but here's the thing: if you follow DigiDAO, it pumps, dumps, and it doesn't really contain its value as well as you'd like to. If you're running a fund, the number one thing is to not lose your money and not risk losing your money. And also, I think DigiDAO, one coin is 1 gram of gold, which is way overvalued. $44, exactly. So, right. So this brings me to one point. In order to protect yourself, if you think for whatever reason that the market's headed downward, you have to borrow to short whatever positions you own. So the bottom line is really simple. This is just something I'm interested in, and which coin is going to be that one that will end up being a monster lender. It will happen.
What about MakerDAO?
No. Are they a lender?
It's a stable coin. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Good question. I mean, yeah, but probably not the volume you're talking about, right?
Right.
For
It's going to be in the billions. Fact. Sure, but that's only Bitcoin. What if you don't want to sell your altcoins? What if you have hundreds of thousands of on-chain as a fund? Think about it in fund terms, not in retail terms. If you have a basket of altcoins, you cannot hedge by simply going to Bitcoin. That's not a viable hedge.
Yeah, I mean, good question, but I don't think we have the answers yet.
Yeah, no, something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I hedge. I mean, not on the fund level, just more on the investor level, is ICOs, right? If I sense a bear market coming, I put a ton of money into Loom because I knew it would be pretty stable when it came out, right? And we ended up paying off well, right? Things like that. Like if it's a really solid project, almost I would say purely has to be only infrastructure. Like dApps, I would not hedge in dApps, right? But let's say like the next icon I want chain, for example, Quirk chain. Yeah. Let's say we're going in a bear market, and I had $1 million. I would put it all into Quirk chain, right? Because I know when it comes out, it's going to be pretty stable. It's going to do better, right? I mean, that was an example. Quirk chain was an ICO I was a part of recently. It's a high-speed blockchain.
Hi everybody. Jan, thank you very much, man. You changed my life, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, man. Hey.
Hey, man. Man. Yeah.
Anybody who was early in Wabi, man.
Man, you changed
life-changing.
I had a question. Yeah. Vitalik just said that sharding was coming to Ethereum.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, he just.
Yeah, I think I saw that tweet pop up.
Yeah, I just tweeted that. You were talking. So, are you still bullish on project like Zilliqa? Because we know that there are many projects to help to scale Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean now. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You understand my?
Yeah.
And I have another question.
Okay. I was bullish on the ICO Zilliqa. I mean, even though personally I didn't get in, right? But I think as a project, to me, it was a solid investment because what's the ROI now? Over 10x, right? What, 10, 15, 20x, whatever it is, right? So as an investment, it was good. That's more of a short-term perspective, right? You made your money, right? 1 grand to 20 grand or whatever. Long-term, though, now it has a lot of competition. Now everybody's coming after that same space, right? You have EOS, Quirk Chain, Eden Chain. Some other projects are coming out trying to sell that same art chain, trying to sell that same issue. Even Ethereum is going to sell that same issue. I'm bullish long-term on Ethereum. I'm probably more bullish on Ether than Bitcoin, actually, right? And I mean, they have the biggest community in the world. I mean, Bitcoin has people that are passionate, but in terms of actual functionality, actually, I take that back, I'm sorry. I just recalled a project I met in Argentina, RSK Rootstock, that could change all of that, right? Which is basically smart contracting on Bitcoin, right? So I'm basically personally betting both, right? But in terms of Ethereum, I think it's doing well, right? and I think Vitalik is going to win. He's already winning, but I think he's going to win even more, right? So, but all these other projects trying to compete with Ethereum and do the high-speed blockchain use case, I think some of them have a chance, but as most projects, most will fail, right? But I'm looking at things from the investor perspective, right? Sure, they could lose to Ethereum, they'll still give you 20x, right? Which is still a win.
Yes. We know that.
Right? So, I mean, these projects may not cure world hunger, but they could still have great returns. Right? That's kind of the perspective I have. But in terms of actually solving the value or the problem that they're trying to solve, most of these will fail, to be honest. But one of them is going to win, right? And I mean, sure, I use token metrics to try to predict what's going to be a good investment. But in terms of what's actually going to win long term and solving the actual problem, I mean, nobody really knows, right? So I just try to kind of diversify by being part of every single horse in the race, right? But just making sure the horses in the race are actually credible, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question in terms of investment. Sorry, my English is not.
Tu parles français?
Yeah, je parle français.
Ah, oui.
And we don't practice a lot in France, so I'm sorry, guys. So in terms of what do you think of Zebi? Where do you see Zebi? Zebi just launched on small medium exchange.
I think it's already what, 5x or so? Last time I checked.
It was like 3, 4.
No, I'm saying the ROI is I'm bullish on Zebi. I mean, I was part of the ICO, right?
Yes.
I wish I had more, but yeah, I'm very bullish on it. I mean, great team with a product, use case, already partnerships, right? Very low capital, you raised 10 million. Right? I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, that really reminds me of Wabi, right? That's why I was very bullish on Zebi. Right? And it already came out guns blazing, doing pretty well, right? I think the future is very bright for Zebi.
Hello, my name is Chris, and I have a question. I know you are advisor in Pareto Network, and what do you think about Pareto Network? Are you bullish or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm bullish. I've actually been reaching out to Eric, trying to have him walk me through how to use the platform. I want to use it. I plan to start posting stuff on there just to try it out, right? Because for those who don't know, Pareto is basically a way to share information, right? And in exchange for sharing information that people find valuable, you earn tokens, right? So whenever I get time, it's just been a matter of time and me and him getting down together and talking things through. But I plan to start posting some stuff on there, right? I may post my next ICO pick on Pareto, right? I just gotta kind of make sure everything's working smoothly and I have time to talk with Eric and everything. Right, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll be posting something on there.
But Pareto?
Yeah, I mean, the project, right?
Okay.
I'm bullish on it because I think initially I was skeptical. That's why I was kind of bumping heads with Eric, right? Trying to make sure he was doing things. I was like, token metrics, do all this, do all that, right? Because before he was trying to raise a ton of money because he was thinking more of as an entrepreneur, right? Like, what do I need to make sure I can solve everything and do all this? I was like, no, but you have to think from the perspective of investors, right? That's why they ended up lowering the cap, doing a private sale only, all that stuff, right? And I mean, I think short term, they're going to be growing pains, in my opinion, right? Even though I'm an advisor, I can still say that, right? But I feel like right now it's still very undervalued at the point, right? At this point in time, because I feel like once they get people on board, right? Because I know I'm planning to go on there and post. I know, do you guys know Luke Martin? He's a trader as well. He's also very bullish on the project and wants to start posting stuff on there as well. So I feel like once it gets people like us to start actually using it, right, it's going to do well. But I feel now it's still very early, to be honest.
I have two questions. The first one, you talked about discounts and how they're destructive towards the ecosystem. I was wondering what your opinion is on airdrops as a way to make ICOs more accessible to the general public.
I'll start off by saying, personally, I've never been part of airdrop. I mean, obviously. But I always get airdrops from people just airdropping their wallets. I think it's a great way to build a community. Actually, I'll take that back. It's a great way to generate hype, but not really build a community because people take the tokens then leave as soon as they get the tokens. Right? I feel like it does help build awareness. Right? You have products that nobody has heard of, once they mention airdrop, the communities start to grow. But in terms of actually helping their project, I don't really think so. It's kind of like they're renting their community as opposed to owning it.
So I was thinking more in terms of from a token sale participant perspective, because I think there's a huge danger in getting involved with airdrops, specifically when projects start branching out towards security tokens, because people get involved in airdrops without realizing the legal implications of.
I discovered those recently, actually, because I've thought about doing my own airdrop, right, to my community, right, as a way to just say thank you guys for everything, right, here's an airdrop. But my security lawyer came back to me and said she spoke with the SEC and they said they're securities. And I was like, an airdrop? And you're like, yeah, they consider them securities. So actually today we've been in the process of trying to register with the SEC for an airdrop. And I don't think most people even know that there's securities, right? So there's, especially in the US, there's lots of regulation concerns that people have to be cognizant of, right? And I mean, I don't think most people really know what they're doing though. They just kind of doing whatever works to kind of solve the issue at hand without really thinking of what's happening, right? Especially with ICOs now, all they do is just say, we'll ban US investors, so don't worry about it.
Or Chinese investors for that matter, or whatever, yeah.
As well, right? So that's something I'm dealing with, right? Now for me, the airdrop, actually I'll talk about the airdrop now. Right? Good way to segue to my airdrop.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So my airdrop will not be a public airdrop. It will be a private airdrop. Almost kind of like an exclusive club almost. Because I want to really reward those people who've been there supporting the community and what I'm doing, the content and all that stuff, with some kind of value, right? Because as you guys know, my spreadsheet has been taken down, right? One of the ways I think I'm thinking of bringing that back up is by building an application, right? Turning that into an app and having people use the token to access that app. But the only way to get the token is by getting their airdrop token. That's going to be done via it's kind of a sneaky way. I'll be doing a feedback survey, right? I will not advertise this as an airdrop. Just be like feedback survey, like answer these questions. People, what? I guess so. I didn't do their survey per se, but I think they had something similar, right? So once you answer the survey, right, based on the questions, you'll be whitelisted for the airdrop. Then you get, because I'm trying to really just not have everyone have access to the spreadsheet. I want to kind of contain it, but only do people who are actually getting value, right? As opposed to having people who don't really care about the community just coming to, because that hurts people who actually care about the community that we're building, if that makes sense. Right? But anyway, if you ever get any email or anything saying, hey, feedback survey, that's actually a whitelist for a token airdrop. All right.
I had another one, and this is more generalist. Since you're an investor in the space and you observe it quite closely, I was wondering which verticals are the ones that you're going to be observing for blockchain disruption in the near future, because those are usually the big ones when a project comes in using the blockchain to disturb a pre-existing industry. So disrupt. Yeah. So which verticals are you going to be observing?
From our very high level infrastructure projects have been the main ones, right?
Yeah, sure. That's exactly what we're doing as well. But I was just wondering specifically.
Going deeper from there,
yeah.
I mean, like high-speed blockchains is one I love. Like anything high-speed to me is almost a 10x, like 10x. Not guaranteed because you can never say that in investing, but it's almost a safe high-speed. I like high-speed blockchains, smart contract blockchains, protocols, like pure protocols. I don't really like personally. Going into more of just industries. I'm very video is something I really care a lot about as somebody who makes video, right? That's why I really liked VideoCoin, right? But I think they botched it by having 100% bonus, right? So video is something I like. Privacy is pretty huge, right? That's probably it for the most part, right? Everything else I'm just kind of, I take it as it comes, right? I'm kind of, I like to have an open mind, but anything infrastructure, any blockchain really, with All-Star team and product, I'm all over, with decent token metrics. right? And then video is something I like a lot. I've done, 2 video ICOs, Props Project and Flixo. Flixo was a good investment, even back then, and that was a DApp. Props I pulled out because the lockup was just too long, but as a project I'm very bullish on. I'm also very excited about LivePeer. It's decentralized live streaming or video streaming or broadcasting. But no ICO, I already tried that one. They had like a private round only. Yeah, so I mean, video is probably it for me.
Thank you. I have to also say thank you to you because I discovered you last May. I saw the initial, like the ICO video. I didn't know what ICOs were about, and I discovered back then. I started with Omis ago.
That was a very good one.
Yes, and then I also I'm part of your Patreon small
wow.
league.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the support.
I actually want to ask you about, well, you are the most famous crypto YouTuber. I would say that from last year to now, like, have appeared a lot of people trying to do the same, using the spreadsheet, almost doing the same stuff, creating new channels. What you would advise to someone that wants to start not just investing in crypto, but making content in crypto for a YouTube channel or a Medium blog? And what do you think is the most important to have a good community? And
so how do you build a community from the ground up as a new YouTuber or influencer, right?
Yeah, community and like make something.
Okay,
really.
I mean, do things that other influencers won't do, right? And offers as much value as possible for free, right? Because I come from the Gary Vaynerchuk school of thought, right, where attention is king, right? So while people were trying to monetize and do all this stuff, I didn't care about that. I just cared about getting attention, eyeballs, right? So when I joined this space, I saw the other people out there, like other people doing videos, box mining, Supo, whatever, right? But I noticed what they weren't doing live streams, right? I would say what really grew my YouTube channel the most, besides just people like you guys making money, was just doing live streams. I would get on a live stream. I was doing 2 live streams a week, right? One AMA, just answering questions, which nobody has really done for ICOs before me, and doing the ICO live stream review. Right? And I would go deep, like 2 to 3 hour long live streams, right? That's 2 live streams, each 2 to 3 hours long, for free, right? Just offering as much value as possible, right? So I would say document the process. Whatever you're doing, just document that and have people get value from that. And if you're really offering value, people will just share that with their friends, right? Gary Vee has something that says the market is the market, right? Doesn't matter what people think, the market will decide if you're good or not, right? So all I do is just live stream and put out stuff for free. And then eventually, as you're building a bigger community, they will tell you what to do next, right? Like my Patreon, I didn't launch my Patreon because I wanted to, right? People are saying, hey, Ian, do you have a private community? You want to talk to you, Telegram, whatever, right? Then I launched a Telegram. Had it for a while. It went to about 2,000 people or so. Then I noticed something happened. As it got bigger and bigger, right, people began to fork off the Telegram and form their own Telegram groups, which was nice. But once they got scammed, then they'll come back and complain to me, right? Then I was like, how do I control this, right? Then we had somebody else also try and come and scam our own group. Like, hey, Ian, we would pay you to have a private group, right? So I had that for a while, but once I had that scammer go through it, posing as me, as the made man or whatever, trying to scam my community, I was like, okay, you know what, I have to have a different level of access where I only share particular things to avoid things like that, right? So the community asked for that, right? And that's when I really launched my Patreon. So I would say just offer as much value for free, do things that nobody else is doing, do things that don't scale, right? So in the beginning, I was responding to everything, every tweet, every Instagram DM, direct message. I mean, I would spend 1 to 2 hours in the morning and at night responding to people. Email, Telegram, right? Doing things that, this comes from Paul Graham, right? Who's the founder of Y Combinator, right? Do things that don't scale, right? So try to offer as much value as possible, right? I would get on calls with people and just talk crypto, right? Just one person, it doesn't scale, but, right? Like for example, I know I was DMing somebody back and forth on Twitter, right? My friends are like, this does not scale. Like, why waste time on this? When I launched my Patreon, this person ended up getting the top tier, which is $2,500 a month, and was part of it for 1 year, because I was just offering so much value to him that it changed his life, right? So I would say do things that don't scale, do things nobody else in your space is doing, right? Kind of like the stuff we're doing now, right? We're always trying to push the envelope, right? We began with live streams, now everybody was doing a live stream. We began with the spreadsheet, now everybody has a spreadsheet. Now I'm trying to turn that into an application. Now we're doing a vlog. I think this was one of the first crypto vlogs. Now I'm seeing other people doing the crypto vlog. Now we're doing the music. Then eventually somebody else will start doing crypto music album. Right? We're just trying to push the edge and the envelope to other things, right? And I would say just be transparent. Be transparent, be authentic. Because I feel like if you're just authentic, I mean, it's like take it or leave it, right? So people come in, they see what you have to offer. If they like it, they stay. If they don't, they go. Right? So hope that helped.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for being part of the Patreon, man.
More of your thoughts on Rootstock and on Holochain and Definity?
Okay. I'll start with the other two. Definity, possibly a good project, raising way too much money, right? It's in the same camp as Hashgraph. I think they're just straight cash grabs, right? Because Hashgraph is raising 200 million, only selling 4% of the tokens, right? I mean, they're basically saying we don't need a community, which they'll regret down the line, at least short term. Same thing with Definity. RSK, I think, is going to be groundbreaking. I mean, I met Gabriel, one of the co-founders, in Buenos Aires when I was there during the South America tour, right? And to them,
One is here in Barcelona also.
oh, that's right, Sergio or Diego, I think.
So I met him in
Yeah. I mean, so as a project, technically, I think there's a ton of potential, right? Great team, no public ICO, right? A great team doing a great project. I mean, I think it's going to be good. So, I mean, you don't really access it. They come and find you in a way. It's like invite only. I mean, I know lots of funds that are in it, right? But there will be no public ICO. I mean, I'm not in it yet, right? I'm not even sure if I'll be in it, right? I know they're being very, very strict on who they let in. But as a project, even though they're raising a ton of money, right, I think it's going to be a great project. That's one of the few projects. It's kind of been going back and forth depending on the market, right? But even with a large cap, it is a good investment based on the token metrics. And it's kind of been floating between high 70s, low 80s, right? Because the token metrics I have are dynamic based on the price of Ether, Bitcoin, and all that stuff. But I think it's one of the projects that could really compete with Ether, maybe even surpass Ethereum. No, so they're doing 2 tokens, right? They're doing Smart Bitcoin, which is pegged to Bitcoin. Then there'll be a different token that is used for the applications being built on top of it, right? So in a way, think of it as kind of having, kind of like sidechains in a way, or kind of having like a Bitcoin, then having Ethereum on top of it, right? Because I think what they're discussing is that Ethereum isn't really a store of value, right? So they're trying to break away the store of value and the coin people used to speculate on, right? And building the dApps and all that stuff. So they're kind of having two different things, right? So every Bitcoin you have will be locked into a smart contract and converted to one smart Bitcoin on RSK. Then on top of that, they'll have what they call directory services, right, where they're basically building the applications. Now, when I was in Buenos Aires, I met lots of developers and teams who are actually already building on top of it, right? So their mainnet is ready to go. Like it's very advanced. They're just staying very, very low key with what they're sharing publicly, right? Because I think they want to. They're also trying to kind of not get so hyped up to a point where they're a target for regulation and stuff like that. Was one of the concerns they told me. But as a project, both from a long-term value of what they could actually bring to Bitcoin and this entire space, I think it could bring everything on Ethereum over to Bitcoin. I imagine all the Ethereum dApps being put into Bitcoin. That's it for both Bitcoin and RSK. So as a possible investor, or something I'm very excited about. On the what? Timeline for it to come out, or the ROI perspective? Mainnet is already launched. It's live, right? If you go on the site, I believe you can see the Block Explorer, right? They already have dApps being built by, I know when they mentioned they had POCs and stuff, right? Other companies are building, hired, they have like people who are working with RSK, like a blockchain company, kind of like consulting company that builds for clients who want to test out RSK, Rootstock, right? So it's already on that stage, right? Mainnet is fully launched, and dApps have already been built on it. It's just, they aren't really public dApps per se.
Hi. Being a small investor, how much time, in your opinion, is left to the small investors against the big venture capital pool and everything?
So how much time is left? I mean, I think we still have time, right? And because VCs target totally different investments that can make money as opposed to the average retail investor, right? Going back to, at least for me, the best projects I did, Wabi, Dragon Chain, were not really projects looked at by the venture capital community. They were busy going after Filecoin, Tezos, EOS, the large fundraisers. They missed the small ones, right? So I feel like the next thing for the average retail investor to do is to find projects actually that VCs will ignore, right? Try to find the next Wabi, right? Next Wabi could be Zebi, for example. Zebi wasn't really, most VCs didn't really get into Zebi, at least to my knowledge, right? Very few. And projects like that, right? For example, there was a project last year as well, did 100x Horizon State, a project in Australia, right? Projects like that, those very low-key, under-the-radar projects, right, still have great returns, right? So in terms of competing with VCs, just in a way kind of avoid products really hyped with VCs. I mean, they can still do well, right? But understand that you're competing with a totally different animal, right? If you find projects that are very under the radar, right, that's where the real return is for the small investor, in my opinion.
Well, it's not really a question. It's more a question for the rest of the audience. But maybe I'm living in Barcelona, and sometimes it's kind of difficult to talk about crypto with your friends. I don't know if you're the same. So at this point, I would like to ask permission first for maybe create some Telegram group here in Barcelona as a community from Balina's community, maybe your name. And after that, if you say yes, I would like to create this group for Telegram just for everyone from here. If you want to join, just feel free to join the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just email me, right, and I can send a Telegram group invite to everybody on the email list who's signed up for this event.
Perfect.
Right?
So I'm definitely gonna do that because sometimes it's okay just Telegram with people who's living in Australia and Korea. But sometimes the P2P in life, like today, I think that the feel and the mood of today is quite of good. So yeah, thank you very much.
Nice.
So EOS, given the fact that the US residents can't invest on the ICO directly with the ICO, only for exchanges, and this like £500 million fund for development that they've got. What are your kind of short-term thoughts for the next 12 months? Should we be chasing a dip? Could it do 10, 20x?
EOS?
Yeah.
You already did.
Yeah,
but again,
yeah. I missed that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm very bullish on EOS personally. I was part of the ICO. Yeah, I think it's going to do really well. I mean, I'm not getting in now though. No. I mean, but I'm watching it a lot closely. I mean, I think.
For what, to get out?
No, to get more.
Okay.
I mean, as a long-term play though.
Because you talked about pivoting from ICOs to looking at under
I mean,
value.
I think it's not going to be like an ICO type return, but I feel like as a project, it's going to. I think it's very has a good chance to compete with Ethereum, right? So as a long-term investment, because right now, the only long-term investments I have, like long-term, like several years, I have are just Ether and Neo, surprisingly, right? So I feel like EOS is one of those plays.
Okay, cool, thanks.
All right. Okay, last one.
Follow
the photo session.
A follow up on EOS. I heard that EOS has a fund of $1 billion to fund ICOs, so not to kill the ICO market, but to get all the good ICOs to their platform and then just give them the money they want. They say, hey, we want 20 million. There you go. You have 20 million. We have 1 billion to spend on all the good ones. So what are your thoughts about this? You heard anything about this? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I did hear about the fund. It's a good way to get developers to build dApps on their platform. I'm not sure how much other people can invest in those ICOs.
So my information is that you can't be part of the ICO anymore. You have to hold EOS token, and EOS gives you the token from this ICO per airdrop.
It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show.
Sorry?
I haven't really looked that much into doing things. I don't think I've ever looked into
It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe it goes. I do believe it. Do you believe it?
I don't really know.
Made up in my mind, it's believable.
Thank you so much for coming to the event.
If I believe it though.
So thanks to Jan and go on.
Saw it at the time, it's achievable.
So that guy's a really supporter of mine. Has been there in the beginning, before the spreadsheet. Like in the beginning, District DNT. He's been with me through thick and thin in the ICOs, Wabi, pre-ICO. I mean, just a loyal person in the community. All right, so nice to finally have a chance to meet him. He flew all the way from England to come here. All right, so I mean, it's just a beautiful thing seeing the people who've been supporting me, being able to meet them in the flesh. Right, so looking forward to hanging out with him. Gonna grab some dinner and drinks and just connect even more.
Now I got the drive, now I got the drive. I believe inside, I believe inside. Family by my side, I believe inside. With my family by my side, I won't be alright.